In our culture, everything is based on success. But what is success? Who defined it? Who decided that success was the goal instead of fulfillment? What happens if we shake up that definition? What if we make our own definition of success? My name is Tony Grebmeyer, and on this podcast, I'm going to dig deep into the real stories behind success. Join me as I interview other entrepreneurs who've climbed up Success Mountain and have come back down to share their stories so you can succeed. If you're ready to join a community of other entrepreneurs redefining success and finding fulfillment, go to BeFulfilledLife.com and join the community. Now, let's dive into today's show. Welcome to Be Fulfilled and Driven with Purpose. My name is Tony Grebmeyer, and my guest today, Kyle Lasota. And man, I was about to read his bio, and we were talking before the recording. I'm like, is it all accurate? And he's like, dude, so much has changed. Like, that's what Driven by Purpose is all about. Things change. You know the meaning and you know your why. But along the way, man, some things are just going to come at you. And so I just wanted to welcome you first and foremost. And let's just jump in and have an amazing conversation. So first, let's, how are you? Just from a high level, and then we'll get into the roots and we'll talk about the stuff that's deep down.
Yeah, for sure. I'm great, man. I think right now, at the time of this recording, we're in isolation, we're in lockdown, and it's been an amazing time for me, like such an incubator. And it's given me space and focus to actually work on the things that have always been there that I've wanted to work on. For whatever reason, there was never enough time and there was never enough space and energy.
So why don't we dive into that? Because I think maybe you've got something that you can share, because, you know, so much of what people deal with is that they're dealt with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. They wake up, they find a way to do what they do during the day. They eat a little bit along the journey, sleep maybe a little bit if they need to, and they're tired. Then they crash out and go to bed and do it all over again, right? So for something to change, you got to change, right? Because otherwise everything's the same. So let's talk. So what's happening in your world? Like what is the biggest shift, right? And quarantine causes us, for me, anytime you lock yourself away, go do deep work in the mountains, go to a mastermind, go hunker down with a bunch of your friends, like get mutually connected. And then you still need to get disconnected so you can get still enough so you can make sure you're on the right path. Yeah,
that's right. And so I think for me, what changed was, you know, when this happened, I froze for a minute and I went into panic because I run a video marketing storytelling company, and that's a client-facing business. And I knew that travel was going to stop, and I knew that people were going to pull back on some of their spending. And they also probably don't want some coming into their home, or they don't want to come travel to me to do this video work. And so I got really scared, and that lasted about 2 days. And I knew that, like, in time of crisis, like, speed or success loves speed. And so I knew that there was a pivot that needed to happen. And I had this Facebook group that I was not doing anything with, that already had 150 people in it, around the concepts of biohacking and health and health optimization. And it's something I'm very, very passionate about. It's a big part of my identity, but it's not something that I was showcasing or marketing or putting out there. And I had started developing a little bit of a presence on YouTube as well. And I had partnered with a couple companies, and, you know, it was just the inklings, the beginning of something. And luckily, I'm very intentional with my life, and I design it in a very specific way. And one of those things that I designed is my finances. And so I had about 12 months of living expenses saved. And I do that for a very specific reason, because my goal is for early retirement. And so I'm working towards early retirement. Right now, I'm 26 years old. So the goal for me is to retire in the next, 6 to 8 years. And what that looks like for me is investing 25 years worth of my yearly expenses into the S&P 500. And if I do that, then I can live off 4% of the returns for the rest of my life, with my portfolio continuing to grow. And that's what operating under the assumption that we're getting 7% year-over-year growth, adjusted 3% for inflation. And the numbers work out roughly around that. And So that's sort of my plan, my financial.
Wait, I want to stop for 1 second. I got to tell you this. I think what you're talking about is just genius. So I'm on a walk, finishing up my masterclass with Sarah Blakely.
Yeah.
She sat down and basically had a chance to talk with like a financial person who has been with Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
The question basically was like, how come you don't follow like Warren's simple kind of like plan? Like, why doesn't more people follow his plan? Right. And you know what the answer was? Because everybody wants it today. They're not willing to do the deep work, the hard work, the long work to play the long game. Everybody wants to get the putt and win and go, hey, where's my green jacket? And nobody sees the practice and the hours. So I just want to throw out some love to you, man. You're doing the stuff that most 26-year-olds, 27, 28, 29, 30, 35, some 40-year-olds, 50s and 60-year-olds don't even do. Like you're seeing, I just want to love on you, man. You're seeing the opportunity. See, the horizon we may never touch, but we can see it. When you go surfing, you can see the set that's in front of you and everybody wants to catch the wave. But some people are so humble, they'll gratefully say, hey, you know what? You can catch those waves. I'm on the sets that are on the horizon and I can see there. So you've got some vision. So keep going.
Thanks, man. But this was all bred out of necessity. Like the reason why I am the way that I am is because like when I was 21, I had this like health crisis that was brought on by stress. And something that I didn't know, and I think a lot of people don't know this, is like there could be one little thing that's off in your body that happened when you were 5 years old that can completely throw off the trajectory of your health. And for me, it's something I only discovered recently, which is when I was like 11 years old, my brother pushed me off a rope swing and I broke my left ankle. And I never got it set, and I never got a cast, and I never like rehabbed it properly. And so for the next 20 years, my ankle has been pronating just a little bit inwards. And slowly over the course of the last 20 years, walking, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of steps, my right hip has slowly started to come up, and it created what's called lateral pelvic tilt, bringing the right hip up. Now, the reason why this is significant is because that puts pressure on your spine and into your nervous system, which in turn will affect your digestive system. And when I got under a lot of stress when I was 21, I started developing digestive issues. But I didn't know that it had anything to do with my spine until literally within the last couple of months. Now, here's how we bring this full circle. I had 12 months of living expenses. So I'm like, cool, I got time and I got security, which is something that most people don't have right now. So what that means is I get to get focused and I get to lock in and I get to go all in on this thing that I've been putting on the back burner, which is the Facebook community and the YouTube channel and the health and wellness stuff, right? And simultaneously, I get to be the leader. And what leadership means to me is I go first, right? So that means I get to heal. I get to fix my postural imbalances. I get to show people what's possible through my own transformation so that I can inspire them and I can build community around that. And so I started pouring energy into two things. Number one is building this community around biohacking and improving your wellness, but also on my own health, my own posture, my own muscle imbalances. And I'm going on this deep healing journey. I just hired a health coach and going deep into different things that I thought I explored, but never to the same depth. And so now that's sort of where we're at, and that's what I'm working on, and that's sort of the position and the transitions that I've been making.
They're all huge, right? There's nothing better than making you finally a priority. I can't preach it, talk about it more than ever that, so many of us are so busy helping others, we forget to help ourselves, right? The cup's so empty by the end of the day when you go to drink it. You're like, oh man, I'm too tired. I'm going to go down and fill it up, right? So I got to say thank you for sharing that. And I think it's so impactful. I mean, I'm going to piggyback just a little bit off of it because I've had a chance to know you for a while and seeing you in your element. And I got to tell you, anybody listening right now, like some of the dopest stuff you'll ever see comes from this guy's camera. But more importantly, what's up in his mind. He's a super, super sharp entrepreneur. He's dug deep into the work. He's done the personal development and constantly, you just heard his story, his intro, a little bit of what's up. And you can hear the genius behind you. So I just want to say thank you for that. I'm in day 9 of 75 hard. So like,
there you go.
Getting in, I got right before this, my shirt's all sweaty. I'm like, hey man, let's just go. I got 50 minutes to go work on the Peloton, get that stuff done and come in. And, I changed my diet 8 months ago to being, plant-based vegetarian. not vegan, vegetarian. And it's made a whole bunch of differences in my body naturally, right? And I grew up eating meat all the time. Every meal was meat, 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 and nothing wrong. I'm not have anything against it. I'm not even doing it because of animals. I'm doing it because my body responds better for me personally when I'm focused on something. And it's a lot easier not to think about it because my wife's been a vegetarian for 25 years and she didn't ask. I just saw an opportunity to grow closer together, of sharing meals and conversation. And it was a big issue. Like 12 years ago, I always used to ask her, why don't you just go eat meat? It'd make our relationship so much easier. And then we had a lot of divorce issues and a lot of marital issues and a lot of mindset issues. And she never asked me, but I just quietly, what you just said was huge. And I want to come back to that. You chose to be a leader. I started watching what my wife was doing and I just started following the leader. Instead of like arguing with it, I just said, hey, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And I'm 8 months in and I love it. So thanks for sharing that. I think it's very impactful to realize by you leading, other people do follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the theme in our house right now. And I live in a millennial entrepreneur house, everyone under the age of 30, and they all have businesses or are part of big startups. And I proposed that we had this new theme in the house with leadership actually a couple of weeks before COVID started happening. And I thought it was so ironic and so funny that it could never be a more appropriate time to step into the leadership of going first.
Well, so like this whole driven with purpose and by purpose, what does that sound like to you? Does it sound like something that you find or something that you have inside you?
I think it's a yes and conversation. So I think it's both, right? Like I think I always knew that I wanted to make videos and to tell stories like that. I was always a storyteller. And when I was a kid, I was, the one making home videos with my brother and his friends and my friends. And so that was always there. And I knew going into college that that's what I wanted to do. And so I think to that degree, I knew it inside of me and it was something I was born with. But then with the health stuff, that only recently came about when I was like 21 and then boom, health became a huge priority. Because like once you lose health, you realize how valuable it is, right? So I think it's like, for me, the way that I look at it is purpose is ever evolving. And I look at it as like your soul's recognition of like what your potential greatest contribution could be, right? And so as you evolve and as you learn, I think you synthesize different elements of the world and different perspectives that allow you to maybe combine what you were innately born with what your life experience gives you.
What kind of work have you shifted to when it comes with the camera? Because you were talking about YouTube's been a big, switch. You're building this community. It's all about health. Where's the work? Where's the lens taking you now? Yeah. Before it was broad, and now I think you've made some adjustments.
Yeah. So for me, it's like I'm looking to cut the learning curve for people who want to get into optimizing their health. And I'm also looking to inspire younger people and change the paradigm around health. So the mission internally of my company now is become like, our mission is to make it cool. And my mission is to make being healthy and living well cool. And the reason why that's my mission is because, I am a young guy. I wear a backwards hat. If you see me, I kind of look like a skater. And if there was someone who looked like me, talked like me, walked like me, that I found on YouTube when I was going through my health challenges, holy crap, it would have been so inspiring. And like I would have locked into that content and I wouldn't have been able to make my challenges like a lot less, in a lot less time. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm doing. And then in terms of the actual camera work, it's like, how do I tell stories in a way that is the way that people like to consume content right now that sells them on health and makes being healthy sexy, like that's really my goal. And so I'm finding the best products and the best people in the world when it comes to this category. And I'm reviewing their products, but I'm doing it in a sexy way. I'm doing it in a fun way. I'm doing it in a way where I communicate to the right person in the language that they would want to be communicated to.
So let's take a newbie, some novice person who just really isn't great picking up a camera or their phone, and they're like, hey, I want to push some content. I love asking video people this because I think it's like the fear of just going first, like you said, right? You got to go first. You just got to try it. Every new time there's another phone that comes out, there's some new thing you have to learn. What would you tell somebody just listening right now going, you know what, I've been thinking about putting YouTube content out. I've been thinking about going live on Instagram. I'm thinking about doing something on Facebook. What would you give them as some inspiration? Doesn't matter their age, but just giving them a little pep talk on just picking up that thing and just filming.
Yeah, it's like I think there's like three things, and I think all of marketing is always three things, right? Three steps, three secrets, whatever it is. I got three secrets for you. So secret number one is make content that people are searching for. So right now I'm really nerding out on YouTube optimization with SEO. So if you type in the word cold plunge on Google, my video will come up first. It's ranked number one for the keyword term cold plunge, and so that video is bringing in like. Literally, I think it's bringing in 200 views every 2 days on autopilot, and it's sending people to the affiliate links that I've set up for people to build a DIY cold plunge. So it's an evergreen asset that's like making me money. The second thing is I would learn the basics of storytelling, and I can give you a framework. The framework is DSFR: dream, setup, fall, resolution. Right? If I look at my metrics and my analytics, I definitely see a much higher watch time on the videos where I actually do storytelling versus just content. And the way, I'll give you an example. So my story using the DSFR is, the dream was I always wanted to be a videographer. The setup was I went to college and I started pursuing this filmmaking degree, but then I saw that my teacher was a film student, and then the guy developing my film was a film student. And there was like red flags or like, oh God, this is my future if I don't figure this out, right? So I went into business to learn business so that I could like navigate the film world. And then the fall was like, I got sick from stress, and the resolution was, in order to heal, I had to pick up a camera and rediscover my purpose and build this video career. And so that's a DSFR right there: dream, setup, fall, resolution. So that's a simple framework that you can use. And then number three would be like, when it comes to creating content, I would say it's the difference between being intrinsically motivated and extrinsically motivated. So when you're intrinsically motivated, you're doing it for the sake of the thing, versus extrinsically motivated, you're doing it for the view, you're doing it for the like, you're doing it for the engagement. And if you can focus on being intrinsically motivated, then I think the quality of the content will inherently be a lot better, because you're making content about something you actually want to be making content about, that you're inherently interested in it and that you love and you're passionate about, and that will bleed into the quality of the content.
Wow. All right. So the three secret tips come with a sale pitch, and I need the sale pitch really, really quick. So how do people get connected and work with you? That's the easiest one I know of.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur or a health and wellness company who want to grow your business, then you can go to apply.kylegotcamera.com. And if you want to collab, YouTube @KyleGotCamera, or if you want to hang out in my Facebook community and learn from all the amazing experts that I'm interviewing in there, then you can go to Biohacking and Lifestyle for High Performers on Facebook.
Man, I think it's so cool just to catch up. It's been a hot minute since we got to hang out. And first thing I asked, what's new? And you're like, man, everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. And that's what I love, is that you're not sitting still. But I do want to acknowledge what you said in the very, very beginning, because I think anybody listening going through COVID, being locked down and like some kind of safe at home, is I think it's been naturally what everybody's felt, right? I don't even care the people who puff out their chests and say, I've got this. I'm like, BS. Everybody has never, that I know of, I haven't talked to anybody who's really ever had to shelter in place before, never been in lockdown, never had to deal with this for an extended period of time. So I think what you said today, by going first and just being open to that, it really allows people to understand, Kyle's real. Like he's sharing how he's really feeling. He's not coming on here to like, hey, I've got it all figured out. Because I don't think anybody really has it figured out.
No, they don't. And I want to piggyback on that, Tony, which is just like, it was really funny. I had this girl, she's a coach, and she was at my house like right when COVID started happening, and we were just chatting, and she's like, I need some copy for like how to handle this like COVID situation, and I gave her this line, and it's kind of been a theme for the rest of the weeks, and the line was like, it's time to go baby mode. And what is baby mode? Baby mode is unrealistic, unwavering, unprecedented, unreasonable amounts of action. If you think about a baby, because a baby's only doing one of two things. They're either sleeping or they're taking action, right? And that has been my mindset during lockdown. Is just like, yo, I'm in baby mode, which means if I'm not sleeping, I'm taking action. And what that looks like is I'm taking action on my body and my health, and my own personal wellness, and like fixing the things that have been out, or I'm taking action on my business, taking action on serving my community. I'm taking action on helping my people in the house. And like, now is not the time to rest. Now is the time to get into momentum. And I was on Austin Netzley's webinar at the beginning of this crisis, and he said this amazing line. And if you're listening, don't take this. I hope this doesn't, you're not insensitive, but he just said, never waste a good crisis. And for whatever reason, that just hit me in my soul. And I was like, man, like, it's time to get to work. You know, like, let's do the things today that we're going to be really happy that we did 6, 9, 12, 18 months from now.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to Chandler Bolt. I'm doing this networking remote series on another one of our channels. And we're just interviewing people just such as yourself. We're bringing panels together. And Chandler said, you know, he runs the self-publishing school. And he said, you know, I didn't realize it. Like, you know, I had stopped my podcast in like 2018. And then we were looking at where the last couple sales have come in, you know, because everybody's looking at their numbers, trying to figure out business and life. And he goes, my last couple sales came from podcasts that were from 2018. So he goes, it caused me to restart up my podcast because it was easy. I love being on podcasts. I love interviewing people. That's what we do. We're all virtual. So now he's like, this channel is going to be healthy again because it's going to get new life and new content. And what you're talking about is the number one thing entrepreneurs, when they're really good and they stay consistent like you, is they're constantly planting seeds, tending to the weeds, making sure that nothing, you know, eats up their garden. Since you're talking about health, you know, there's nothing better than being mindful of the harvest and what are you putting into your body? What are you doing to get yourself better? And I just want to say it's awesome. Every time I've ever been around you, you've got a great demeanor. You are that kid that has the hat backwards. That's awesome. I mean, I'm the guy normally in a black hat, but you know, I buzzed my hair the other day, or at least cut it really short thanks to my wife. And you know, it's just sometimes you got to mix things up, and you want to stand out in a crowded space. Don't look like everybody else. And you know, Kyle, I appreciate you coming in here today and just dropping some nuggets and wisdom. You gave 3 ninja hacks plus one offer, which is get connected and come join his, you know, Facebook community if you want to learn, and then other ways on how to get connected. So it just means a lot that you gave a little bit of your time today to the world, at least in my world. And so it means a lot that you came by. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you and your heart, bro. And you're such an amazing human being. I just want to acknowledge you as well, because every time that I've talked to you, I get this warm sensation because you have this big personality and this huge heart, and it just like it oozes through the screen. And when I met you too, you have huge hands, bro. You're a big dude. And yeah, I appreciate you, dude.
Man, I just want to say thanks again. And we're going to put all of your stuff for Kyle. You can find it at tonygrebmeyer.com under his episode. But you know what? Like, as you go about your day, I'm talking to Kyle, I'm talking about anybody right now. As you go about your day, think about all the wisdom you just heard from Kyle, and think about how it's applicable to your life. And then think about, like, what is it that you're sitting on, maybe not doing, or maybe you're stuck doing what you've been doing and you're ready for a change. And the thing that Kyle left me with is the number one thing that we have to remind ourselves. Like, it starts with me. I got to take care of my health, work on my wealth, you know, be really good and connected with my family and my friends, get a schedule, stay diligent, and put in consistent work. That's what Kyle shared with me today. And I hope that you're listening or watching and you get that too, right? And if you do, go check out what he's up to. He's got so many avenues for you to get connected. But the gift that he shared was just his authentic self. And that is something that we need to work more on, is just getting back to the authentic self. Not the perfect, everything's great, because it's not. It's just like, it's a work in progress. So his name's Kyle Lasota. My name is Tony Grebmeyer. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, choose to make today the absolute best day of your life.
Thanks for listening to today's show. But before you go, let me ask you a question. How would you like to be the architect of your journey in this game we call life? Take the next step now at www.tonygrubmeyer.com. Enter your details to get the first week of the Be Fulfilled Journal for free. It includes access to our private community of thousands of other entrepreneurs. It'll give you more clarity and freedom in your day, and it might just change your life forever.